He's written a chapter in O'Reilly's Security and Usability. He's written for the Security and Privacy magazine. Alen spent several years flying around on experimental government aircraft, MIT's Lincoln Laboratory. Tonight he had to decide between the teleporter or the UFO to get here. Alen Peacock, robot brain.
Thank you. Thanks. So I want to talk a little about robots and robot brains, and the reason I think that's important is that we all know that they want to rise up and they want to kill us, right? That's just an accepted fact, and it's probably true. But I think there's a lot of things we can do to avoid that future. Primarily, first off, we've got to understand the history, and of course, the history predates the building of actual robots. Frankenstein is but one example. The really scary thing, though, is that Honda apparently has plans to build a giant version of Asimo that can also do putting on the Ritz, and that should strike fear into all of you. Okay, this guy is William Gray Walter. He was a electroencephalographer who was working on EEG machines and studying brain waves, and as a hobby, built robots. Elsie is the name of this robot that he has right here. Here's a close-up. She had a couple of wheels on the back that propelled her forward, steering gear on and a wheel on the front that could turn to direct her, photoelectric cell so she could sense light, touch contact so she knew when she was bumping into things, battery on the back. And about the same time in Roswell, a lot of you are familiar with the alien autopsy that happened, where actually there were robotic mind control elements embedded in the abdomens of these guys. And that's point number one. We don't want to give the robots mind control power, so we need to avoid that at all costs. All right, here is Elsie again. I'll move out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. This is a time-lapse photo if you can't tell. Elsie's starting out down here in the corner, and she's avoiding an obstacle, the wall that's in the middle there, and then she's seeking out a light source and orbiting around that light source. So that's fairly complex behavior for the simple robot that she was. On the left side here, she is doing something else that Gray Walter thought was really important, and that is she's making a choice. She's exhibiting free will, making a choice between two light sources, choosing which one to orbit. Over on the other side, she was with her buddy Elmer, another robot of the same making, doing a complex interaction. All of this was done with this really simple circuit. There were no digital components here, no microprocessor, no code, just an analog circuit that controlled these robots. And out of that came this really complex behavior. Now, Planet of the Apes usually isn't thought of as a robot movie, but it has the same themes, right? A theme of we create a servant class that rises up and then kills us. And the important thing to remember here is no time travel. We can't give the robots time travel capability. Deadly. Okay, these are Bratenberg vehicles. They have photoelectric sensors on the top. They're wired directly to motors that drive the wheels on the back. In the configuration on the left, it will avoid light. In the other configuration, if you cross the wires, it will seek light. Okay, close encounters of the third kind. At the end of this movie, remember the guy was playing the keyboard and he couldn't keep up with the alien music, and so they switched over to a robotic system to play the music back. And that's when the alien said, "Oh crap, let's give back the prisoners and get out of here." So the robots might actually save us. Okay, meanwhile, traditional robotics took a little bit different path than what we've seen in the past few slides. A lot of computation, creating 3D models inside the robot brain, using those to plan what the robot was going to do. Very expensive computationally. In the mid-'80s, this guy Rodney Brooks said, "That's crazy. Let's just use the world as its own best model, not use these 3D models in the robot brain. Let's just interact with the world and throw out this planning stuff that we're doing." Also, elephants don't play chess. He liked to say clever things like that. The best known example of this behavior-based approach that he came up with is the Roomba. There are 3 million of those guys out there. They may be dangerous, but the idea is very simple, that you layer these simple behaviors one on top of another. So you have a simple behavior that might be go forward, and then you layer a avoid stairs on top of that. Okay, a couple years ago, I spent some time flying around on this airplane, working with networking research. Had a bunch of communication links on it, and none of them were very reliable. And so I thought maybe we can apply this behavior-based robotic approach to controlling that system and get a better network out of it. And that worked really well in simulation, but we didn't actually ever implement it in the plane, at least not before I left. And that's perhaps for the better, really. Early 90s, Mark Tilden, he came up with what's called beam robotics. These are a couple of examples. They're sort of biological based. Getting back to no microprocessors, just using simple circuits, self-propelling with solar cells or other energy sources. One of the simplest robots you can build is a BristleBot. So a lot of you might have seen these. These are really fun. Just a button cell battery, a vibrate motor from a pager or a cell phone, and a toothbrush head. And these actually exhibit some of that same willfulness that we saw in Elsie. They tended to want to go places, or seem to want to go places and interact in different ways, which begs the question, are they thinking? And if you look at how they're made, obviously they're not thinking. There's no cognition going on. But perhaps it doesn't matter because we're looking at them and we're saying they're interacting. Of course, you're all making a joke in your brain, in your heads about which one really was the robot there. My final parting thought is if you guys build robots, don't teach them how to make batteries out of our bodies. That is a sure path to destruction. And that's the end of my talk. Long live the humans.
Thank you, Alen.